A fisherman named Syracuse is catching fish in the ocean. He didn't think he would find a pretty woman in the pile of fish when they pulled up the fishing net. Syracuse quickly helped the woman by doing mouth-to-mouth breathing. The woman coughed out water. Surprisingly, she was still alive, even after swallowing a lot of water. Syracuse asked for help, but the woman said she was okay and didn't want to see anyone else. But she couldn't remember her name at all. In the end, Syracuse didn't call the police and instead took the woman to an empty house that used to belong to his mother, who has passed away. Syracuse left her by herself because he had something important to take care of. Syracuse went to his ex-wife's house. Her name is Mora. Syracuse came to get his daughter, Annie, and take her to the hospital. Annie had kidney problems, so she needed to have dialysis treatment at the hospital each week. While waiting for his daughter during her dialysis treatment, Syracuse shares a story. The story is about a fisherman who caught a lovely woman in his fishing net. Annie has completed her dialysis treatment. Annie was surprised because she could get an electric wheelchair from the hospital. Syracuse took Annie back to her mom's house. Mora has a boyfriend named Alex. Mora and Alex drink a lot, but they still care about Annie. The next day, Syracuse was getting ready to go fishing. Then he saw the beautiful woman again that he had met the day before. The woman asked Syracuse to take her fishing with him. Syracuse asked the woman her name again. She said her name is Andine, which means girl from the sea. Sadly, on that day, Syracuse didn't catch many fish. Suddenly, Andine started singing with her beautiful voice. That's when Syracuse pulled up his net and was surprised to see a lot of big lobsters inside. It seems that Andine's singing brought him good luck. He caught a big fish that day. When they get back to the island, Syracuse asks Andine to join him in town to sell what they caught. But Andine says no because she only wants to see Syracuse. Andine hurried back home. After selling the lobster, Syracuse goes to the store to find clothes for Andine. After that, he went to Annie's school to get his daughter. Then Annie dares her dad to race her home. While they are traveling, Annie asks Syracuse to keep telling his story. Annie says that the woman in her dad's fairy tale is named Selkie. Selkie is a character from stories who is a seal that can change into a person. After leaving Annie at Mora's house, Syracuse went back home. Annie is interested in her dad's fairy tales, so she decides to go home with him. Syracuse went back to his mom's house after she passed away. He then gave Andine a lot of food and new clothes. Andine was happy to receive all the gifts. She then gave Syracuse a kiss on the cheek. Syracuse left with a red face. At the same time, Annie thinks her dad is keeping a secret at her grandma's house. She then goes to the library to look for information about Selkies. The next day, a curious Annie chooses to visit her grandmother's house, which she has passed away. There, she saw a lady swimming in the sea. That was the first time Annie and Andine saw each other. Annie was certain that the woman standing in front of her was a Selkie, not a human. The two talked a lot, but Annie actually knows a lot about Andine and why she chose to go to land instead of the sea. She was certain that Andine had lost her seal coat. According to the story, without the coat, she couldn't go back to the ocean. Andine and Annie became friends. The scene changes to a man staring at the big ocean. The man is definitely looking for something. The next day, Syracuse asked Andine to go sailing with him again. And surprisingly, Syracuse's net caught a lot of fish. In fact, he had never caught this many before. Syracuse asks Andine to go to the market to sell the fish. Because other people had seen her, Andine agreed to go with Syracuse to the market. When they got to the mainland, the other fishermen were surprised to see such a lovely woman. At the fish market, Syracuse made a lot of money selling his fish. They went into town and got Annie. Andine is shopping for new clothes. They were really surprised by how beautiful Andine looked. The next day, Annie went to see Andine. Andine chooses to teach Annie how to swim in the ocean. While swimming, Andine got scared suddenly. She discovered her lost seal coat at the bottom of the sea. They went to bury the coat in the garden behind the house. In the afternoon, Syracuse takes Andine and Annie to a town festival. Annie talks about the Selkie story and asks Andine if she is a Selkie. But Andine says that's not true. During the festival by the sea, a strange man appeared to be searching for Andine. When they get to the festival, Annie makes Andine confess that she is a Selkie. Since she didn't admit the truth, Annie quickly rolled her wheelchair and jumped into the sea. Without thinking, Andine quickly ran and jumped into the water to save her. Fortunately, Annie is okay. Annie told her dad that Andine can breathe under the water. Annie was taken back home, and Syracuse brought Andine to her mother's house, which she had inherited after her mother passed away. Syracuse tells her that he used to drink a lot and had a problem with alcohol. That's why he didn't get to take care of Annie. He chose to change for his daughter's sake. That night, the two of them get really caught up in the moment and start making love. Surprisingly, Andine likes being with Syracuse. The next day, Syracuse went to a church and told the story of Andine. He started to worry that he might lose Andine. Outside the church, he sees a strange man. The man asked about Andine. Syracuse says that Andine is a woman who makes him lucky. At the same time, the strange man is searching for Andine in the city. Meanwhile, Maura, who had been drinking, was heading home with Annie and Alex. Sadly, the two cars crashed into each other, making an accident. Alex was thrown and died right away. While driving Andine to town, Syracuse saw the accident. He was very upset when he saw that it was Maura's car. Fortunately, Annie is okay after the accident. At the hospital, Syracuse learns that Annie needs surgery right away to get a new kidney. Alex has kidney tissue that is compatible with Annie's. Andine met her husband at the hospital when he was hurt. Her husband wants her to come home with him, but Andine has one requirement. She didn't want him to mess with her life anymore. Annie's surgery was successful. The next day, Syracuse and Maura spread Alex's ashes in the ocean. Maura let Syracuse look after Annie, but only if he followed a certain rule. Andine can be with him. That night, Maura makes Syracuse go with her to the bar for a drink. At first, Syracuse said no, but Maura kept asking until he finally said yes. That night, Syracuse was very intoxicated. He then looked for Andine, who was hiding on his boat. He brought her to an island that has a lighthouse. There are a lot of seals on the beach. Syracuse made Andine go to the island. He was still drunk, so he left her by herself. Andine saw what happened and quickly ran after Syracuse's boat. She felt really sad because she had to say goodbye to him. Syracuse says that humans and Selkies cannot live together. When it got dark, Andine took off her shoes and coat. She jumped into the water and swam. That night, Syracuse went to get Annie and brought her to his house. Annie asked, "Where is Andine?" His father said Andine had been away for some time. Annie was certain that Andine would return because she forgot something. In the morning, Annie is looking at the TV. There is a show with a man singing. Syracuse notices that the song the man is singing is the same one Andine usually sings. He understood that he had been foolish. Turns out that the song is real, and Andine is not a character from a story. He quickly went to the island with the lighthouse. Sadly, Andine was missing. He noticed Andine's shoes and coat, and he could see her across the island. He quickly went to the island. Andine was lying there, feeling cold. Syracuse gave her a strong hug. In the end, Andine shares the real story about herself. Turned out she was a drug seller from Romania. Vladek and his partner brought a lot of heroin to be secretly moved, but the Coast Guard saw what they did. Andine jumped into the sea to avoid the surprise from the officer. At the same time, Vladek was taken by the police because he couldn't swim, but Andine was taken by the waves and drowned. That's when she got caught in Syracuse's net and was rescued. The next day, Syracuse returned to the police to talk. The priest tells Syracuse that Andine will be sent away. She can stay in Ireland if she gets married and becomes an Irish citizen. In the end, Syracuse asked a priest to bless their marriage. Annie helped both of them get married. Now, the small family is living joyfully. The movie ends here. Please, my family, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.